set championships are over, so now we can really focus on August 9th and set 5, Shimmering Skies. So, what's going to change in Lorcana? Well, we're not quite sure yet. We're still waiting on a few more reveals. Then we'll have breakdowns on each color and all the new cards and what it means, in addition to a projected tier list. And I know, it's too early. You can't do that before. Well, I come from Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we do that before. And I'm just saying, last set, no, we weren't 100% right. But we had a decent bit of it right. And it's still fun to do. And plus, why can't you say, this is what I expect to be? Anyway, today we're going to break down Amethyst, Steel, and on the screen you can see this is a current set list. So there's a few ways to play this deck, right? There's the mid-game control build, and then there's the list like Speci ran, where it was more of an early aggro type build, with some mid-game in there, mid-grow as some had called it. Like I said, I think the new version is going to follow more into this build's footsteps and less into the aggro. So I just wanted to kind of show this list. And unlike the Blurple video where I had an updated deck list, I'm still working out the kinks, and I'm not quite sure yet because I think the way the format shifts is going to dedicate definitely a lot on how the build shakes out. So for now, I don't have a final template starting list on this for set 5, but I do have a handful of cards for set 5 that I want to talk about, and we'll go over after this, linked down below in the timestamps. So again, like right now, you're trying to hit like Broom, Robin Hood. You might see Chernobog's Followers, or even a Captain Hook in this slot. In the more aggro build, you might see Maleficent Biding Her Time as a 2-quester. In the 2-drop spot, another package actually you might see is the Broom, the Aerial Cleaner. Couple that up with the 1-drop Broom, and then you can play Yen Sid, who both can draw you a card and quest for 3 if you have 2 other Brooms. It's a lot of ifs, and I just kind of preferred to go away from Yen Sid, but the 2 Brooms and Yen is definitely something that you can see in this color combination work pretty effectively. We went with Snake and Smee as our 2-drops. Fire the Cannons actually sees a decent bit of play in this deck because the uninkable count is low enough a lot of the time. We went with 4 Fox, and I still like Crab, especially in this deck. I really do like Crab. Taking out locations, it allows your Fox to one-shot a Queen's Castle, which is really, really strong. We have 3 Benjas, so Smee and Benja, both multi-questers on turns 1, 2, 3. That you can get aggressive versus those Sisu decks, versus those Popsicle decks, versus any slower deck if you need to jump out on them. And in addition to that, obviously Benja does help with item removal. Goat and yours, not Snake, Goat and Rabbit, looking at the screen, and I can't even talk. Goat and Rabbit, obviously these cards are just really, really strong. They're 4-ofs. 4 costers too, but they're guaranteed 2 lore, guaranteed 2 draws at a minimum, and then you got your 8 bouncers. Next set we get even more bouncers, and I'm not just talking 12. There's another one that we're going to talk about, so make sure you stick around for that. I really like Robin Hood, and I love Tinkerbell this format. Next format, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. If you're worried about aggro, Tinkerbell is fantastic because it gets rid of all those 1-drops as well as like a Grab Your Swords. Robin Hood is just such a strong shift. It's a 3 cost to shift, 3/6 drawing card when he gets defeated in challenge, or I should just say banished in challenge, because if he wins this challenge and they both die, yada yada yada. But in addition, being able to get lore for taking out your opponent's characters too, very strong. This is one of those decks that can play 3 or 4 Babooms really easily. That's why I opted for no Aerial Cleaner, because the 3 Babooms, 4 Storm Ray Johns, even though if their their Diablo is exerted, Storm Ray John will let them draw a card, but that's still 7 outs to that Diablo. 4 friends on the other sides, obviously drawing 2 cards, really strong. Zeus, Grab Your Swords, just the Steel Songs. Like, Steel Songs are so strong. That's why you see them in so many decks. And next format, it's looking like there's going to be a lot of Steel again. So I don't know how popular aggro is actually going to be. And then lastly, we have the 4 castles. Nothing really surprising there. Castle's just an insane card. It's really, really strong, really, really good. You know, it's Castle, it's Draw, it's Passive Lore, it's 7 Willpower. It's really, really strong. It's 1 to move here. If we nerfed Bucky that hard, why can't they just put 2 to move here? Just that alone tones this card down quite a bit. Still a broken card, but just changing that 1 movement cost to 2, honestly, that would help a lot. Anyway, so I said I had some other cards to talk about, right? So which cards would that be? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to go over the steel ones. And this one, I'm really unsure if Tug of War is going to find its way into the deck. For those who don't know, it's an action. You can deal 1 damage to every character without evasive, or 3 damage to each opposing character with evasive. It's a great aggro counter, because you can essentially drop a Tinkerbell effect. So it's kind of funny that they have Tinkerbell as the art with the 1 damage to everything, without evasive, that is. Otherwise, if we get into a format where evasives are a big issue, like not just Diablo, but overall a big issue, this card absolutely will come into the format, because doing 3 to all evasive, really strong. So I don't know though. I am pretty unsold on the card overall. I'm not sure that it's going to find its way in. Overall, I'm actually really disappointed with a lot of the new steel cards. Like some of the 7 dwarves, like Doc, like some of them are niche and might see some play here or there. Even Snow White. 7 dwarves deck could actually be interesting now, like an Amber Steel one, because you get multiple versions of each of them. So maybe we'll mess around with that. But as far as this deck goes, a big reason I think it's going to work so well is Pete, the game referee. He's a 3-cost inkable, 3/3 stat line, quest for 1. But when you play this character, opponents cannot play actions until the start of your next turn. So it's an effect that hits the board. When he hits the board, they can't play actions till your next turn. So that means no babooms, no swords, no songs, because songs are actions. That means be prepared. It's just really, really strong. They get characters, items, and locations, and that's all they get. And why it works so well in this color combination specifically is you have your mims, you have your bouncers. You can play it. Next turn, you play your bouncer, you bounce it back, quest first, sing a song first, get some value out of it. So get your value out of Pete, play your mim, you bounce it back, and then next turn, or if you have enough ink, you just replay it again right away. If you can get to 6 ink and where you're just, use Pete, bounce Pete, play Pete, and you just lock out your opponent's actions, I think it's really strong. This deck could counter Steel Song very, very well. Steel Song's a deck that I think has a lot of things going good for it next format. So this might just be one of those cards or decks, kind of like right now, Bucky has a lot of things going for it. Blue Steel answers Bucky really, really well. So next format, Steel Song has a lot of things going for it. And Amethyst Steel just answers Steel Song really, really well. Well, same song and dance. We've seen it before. So what about some Amethyst cards? We'll start out with Madam Mim, the elephant. The elephant in the room, let's get it out of the way. 4-cost inkable, 3/7. Okay, comes with the standard. When you play, return a chosen character to your hand, blah, 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 blah. Or you have to banish her. Just the standard Madam Mim line. But the sneaky move here is, at the start of your turn, you can move 2 damage counters up to from this character to chosen opposing character. So it's a 3/7. That's a big booty on that elephant. And it can take out your opponent's characters. And then at the start of your turn, you can move damage on it to your opponent's characters. So not only is she dealing 3 damage, next turn she's also dealing 2 more. So really strong actually overall, in addition to just being able to bounce. And say, well, what if you get her to like 6 damage on her even? You can play one of your other bouncers and bounce it back to your hand and just kind of reset her damage line. I do think Madam Mim Elephant is really, really strong, and that gives us the potential to have 12 bouncers in this deck. another card that I think I haven't really seen anyone talk about. It's another 3/7 stat line. However, this one costs 6 and it's uninkable. And if you know what it is, kudos to you. If you do not, it is Camilo Madrigal, the family copycat. So obviously a lot of you don't know. They're new cards. So let's go over it. When this character quests, you can gain lore equal to the lore of a chosen other character of yours. So essentially it's kind of like a lucky dime effect. And return that character to your hand. So it's another bouncer, essentially, but you get lore before you do it. So you can, this card, I want to test it. I don't know that Camilo will make her way in, being a 6 cost. That's the part I'm not sure on, right? But it's inkable, and maybe is a 1 or a 2 of, because even like goat or rabbit, you gain the lore and then you bounce it. So like you have goat or rabbit, right? Let's say goat. You have goat, you quest with the goat, you gain a lore. Camilo quests, you gain a second lore, you bounce, or you use her effect, gain the 3rd lore on the goat, and then you bounce or return the character to your hand. Then you gain that 4th lore off that goat. I think that's pretty strong. In addition to that, you can do 3 lore and a draw if it's rabbit instead, or if it's Pete, you can get Pete back into your hand so that you can replay Pete and again lock out your opponent's actions. I think this is a card, especially being a legendary. I've seen people talk about it as being a filler legendary, but I think there's some potential here. I think Camilo might actually be pretty decent, and I'm excited to test it. Like I said, definitely not a 4 of, because its 6 cost is too high. I'd rather play other cards that are going to be 6 costs as 4 ofs. I don't think it's that good. But as a 1 or 2 of, I think it could be really, really sneaky and, steal some games. We've seen Arthur Wizard's Apprentice for that cheeky 5 lore play with goat. Well, this offers a cheeky 4 lore play with goat. So, decently strong. And if you have enough ink to replay that goat, it's 5, because you quest with goat, 1, quest with Camilo, 2, effect targeting goat, 3, goat goes back to your hand, 4, you play your goat, 5, and then you're set up to do it again next turn. So this is the new Arthur. It's not a 3 cost, but it is inkable, and it works in tandem with a lot of other things. Also 3/7's a lot harder to remove than a 1/3. Like I said, I don't like Camilo as a 4 of, but as a 2 of, I'm probably going to test it out. Maybe 2 elephant, 2 Camilo, maybe? I don't know. Snake is a 2 cost. So, like, being able to have 6 inking, like, Snake, bounce goat, replay goat, like, bounce goat, play goat for win, like, that's the bread and butter. Like, I don't know that you can cut Snake down. And Fox having a 4/3 rush stat line. Again, I think those 2 are still the stronger 2. But when it comes to Elephant and Camilo, I think there's some wiggle room, and maybe like a 2/2 split is going to be the way that we go with it. But anyway, I do have one more new card I want to talk about, and there's still cards to be revealed at this point. So we'll keep an eye out on those. I think actually today I saw that the Discord would have it, because obviously I recorded the video yesterday, so at the time of watching this is today. If we get all those reveals, then we can start putting some actual lists together and figuring out the format. But the last card is We Know the Way. Going back to Moana for our song. It's a 3 cost song, and essentially it reads, draw a card, but maybe play it. And to go a little further, shuffle chosen card from your discard into your deck. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it has the same name as the chosen card, you may play the revealed card for free. Otherwise, put it in your hand. So, few things here. Shuffle chosen card from your discard. So you pick a card in your discard, shuffle it into your deck. Then you reveal the top card. If it has the same name, which I will look for clarification, but because it's the same name, not like the subname, if you say get a rabbit or a goat and you put it back, if you hit rabbit or goat, it's Merlin. Their name is Merlin. So you take a Merlin, shuffle it back, you hit a Merlin, you play the Merlin for free, and you get that advantage. Again, I will go to confirm that. Otherwise, if someone else beats me to it, let me know in the comments down below. But as I'm reading it, that's how it should work. You put Merlin back, you hit Merlin, you play Merlin, and you get that free advantage. Again, otherwise, you get to add it to put it in your hand. So, like I said, no matter worst case scenario, you're drawing a card, but your opponent gets to see what it is. Best case scenario, you play the card, right? So maybe not even necessarily the best case, because if it's a card you want in your hand, it's a May effect to play it. So you can put it in your hand if you want to. So you draw a card and your opponent knows what it is, or you play a card for free. That's essentially what it is play a card from your discard on the off chance that you hit it. But like I said, that Merlin playline, it's another one that's going to be good. Or your Madam Mims for bouncing, because then you play it, and when you play this card, return a character to your hand. So use this, play your Mim, bounce your goat, win the game. Just another way to get into those scenarios. Or you sing with Pete, right? You sing with Pete, you hit a Mim, put a Mim back, you hit a Mim, you play the Mim, you bounce the Pete, you play the Pete. Easy peasy, easy peasy, if you will. So this is just kind of my quick thoughts on some of the new cards. Only 5 of them as far as going into the next set. But I mean, if we look at the deck list for set 4, how many set 4 cards are even in here? We have the brooms, and that's it. So the deck didn't get much for new cards in set 4. So having 5 potential tools with new cards to still be revealed, I think is actually pretty strong. The majority of how this deck shapes up is kind of like Steel Song, where the deck forms into being a meta counter deck, and you play cards to combat the current meta. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this deck down below. What are your expectations for it, and what do you think is going to happen? Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, take care.